Okay, this is a review of the new Fujinon lens, the XF 35mm f2 RWR. WR stands for weather resistant. Now, weather resistant specifically is in reference to it being sealed against short-term invasive weather, not pervasive weather, so you can't go to Southeast Asia during the rainy season and traipse around with this lens, but it is an exquisite choice. Now, I can say that I have used and tested every Fuji lens out there except for one, the 16mm. This lens, as others are reporting, and I can report identically so, that compared to the 35mm f1.4 Fujinon lens that came out back in 2012 when it was released, and this one was just released. This is the last day of November of 2015. This lens is superior in every way, shape, and form. It is faster to focus. It is just damn fast. It is smaller. It is a lot sharper. Not my personal opinion or belief or conviction. It is sharper, period. It is weather resistant, as I already said. It is cheaper. Not cheaper in construction. It is actually tougher in construction. It is metal and glass. It is weather sealed. It has better edge sharpness and certainly much faster autofocus speed. It is not seeking like the 35mm f1.4 is. Now, the 35mm f1.4 is currently on sale for $450. Normal price on it is $600. The current price on this, no sale price, since it just came out, is $399. This lens, I'm going to tell you, is an absolute must-buy. And of course, there are a lot of things on YouTube or other places that say, well, this is a great lens. I'm like, well, that's great. You know, I'm glad that you feel that way, but what the hell does it mean if you say this is a great lens? What is your spectrum of experience? Have you used all the Fuji lenses? What is your experiences with lenses in general? What the hell do you know about glass? Well, I've owned more lenses than anybody else you run into, and I've now used and tested every Fuji lens out there except for one. One that I'm not interested, the 16mm. And this lens is the tits. It's the cat's ass, it's the bee's knees. If you don't buy this, you're a moron. I'm simply going to state that as a fact. I'm being slightly funny and facetious when I say that, but I actually mean it seriously. The bokeh or bokeh on this lens is better than on the 35mm f1.4 Fuji, which predates this by 3 years. This is also quieter in autofocus than the 35mm f1.4. The only reason this one actually does come with a tiny plastic lens hood, which I have in the box currently, it does come with this little pouch, this little velveteen pouch. But this is the lens right here. It's a lot smaller, all metal. Obviously, you can take 5mm off the end of this since I currently have a filter on it. It has a metal mount. I forward to you that 99.9% of instances you do not need an additional stop on your aperture. Now, if you are a portrait shooter and you really think you need a lens that is not as sharp, but has a wider aperture, but does not have as good a bokeh as this lens does, and is certainly not as fast in autofocus, and not as good of a lens, then I suggest you get the 35mm f1.4, which is more expensive, is not made as well, it is not as fast. This lens is an absolute must-have. Like I said, it just came out. When I tested it 12 or 13 days ago, I was astonished. I actually expected it to be a cheaper version of the 35mm f1.4, but other indications from people that had acquired it prior to myself, even though it just came out, indications were that it was faster and sharper and better in every way, shape, and form than the 35mm f1.4 Fujinon. And they are damn right. And I confirmed that myself. I have tested the 35mm f1.4. I found it lacking. I did not want it. I did not want it. It's seeked in autofocus. It was not that damn sharp. As is typically the case out of Zeiss and Nikon, 35mm f1.4 lenses should be damn sharp. Now, the 35mm f1.4 and f2 is nowhere near as sharp as this. They come kind of close at f8, but the Fujinon f2 here that just came out is still sharper. So if you get this lens, there is absolutely 0% possibility that you are going to regret purchasing it. 0%. I do have a good sense of humor. Buy this lens. Yeah, I know I misspelled Fuji. This lens is incredible. And I can state, of all the Fuji lenses that I've used and tested, and I have now, at this point in time, tested all of them but one, this lens is an absolute must damn have. Because if you don't buy this lens, then you are, yeah. I had to make sure that I spelled stupid right. Yeah, I do have a bit of a twisted sense of humor, but I am being perfectly logical and sensible about this recommendation on this lens. It is impossible for you to buy this lens. It is cheap in price, and it is exquisite in its performance. The micro contrast, the intertonal transmission on this lens, the speed, everything about it is incredible. There's absolutely nothing to fault this lens for. Nothing. There is no downside to this lens where I can say, well, this particular attribute of this lens sucks, or it comes up short in this particular attribute. I cannot say that in any way, shape, or form about any attribute that one examines lenses upon. Either vignetting, corner-to-corner sharpness, coma, autofocus speed, noise, quality of construction, IQ, bokeh, price, value. This rates, and like I said, I've owned a lot of damn lenses. I don't think there's anybody else on YouTube that has owned and fondled more lenses than I am. I guess I call myself a glass whore. I actually say that very easily and happily, that there are very few lenses that I can state that this really stands head and shoulders above. It rates a 12 on a scale of 1 to 10. It really is a must-have lens. Okay? Thanks for watching. I hope you like this video, and go out and get this lens because it is cheap and it is just freaking awesome. I absolutely promise you that you will love it. Okay? Catch you later. Bye.